see. There we go. Alright, everyone. Welcome to episode 106 of the CosCast. I am your main host, Pixie Dust Cosplay, and with me I have my wonderful co-hosts.
Mama Cosplay. And then here's their Cosplay.
And also today we are joined by a very special guest all the way from the States. Welcome to Ginny D.
Hi.
Hi.
It's me.
Yes, it is. It's you, Ginny D. We're so happy that you could join us on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yay. Whoop, whoop. So today is going to be mostly like an interview sort of thing, getting to know you and some of the stuff that you've been, doing during your career as a cosplayer. And yeah, just fun, really, getting to know you better. But before we do that, we have some segments that we usually go through, so I figured we could start with cosplay progress. So have any of us been working on anything cosplay related during this past week?
No, but I'm planning to do a video on how I made the stones for my Melisandre necklace. So yeah, I'm gonna make a tutorial for that next week, I think.
Awesome. Tanya, what about you?
No, I have not.
Oh. But I see that you have something very new and spiffy that you're wearing.
Yes, it's the new purple CosCast t-shirt.
Yay!
And I love it. It's so big. I mean, not big, but it's long.
Mm. Yeah,
So
but
it goes
you're
below my
tiny
ass.
too, so you could probably use it as a nightshirt.
Yeah, I mean, it goes below my bum.
That's good. Ginny, have you been working on anything?
I actually am in between projects right now. I did 2 photo shoots yesterday, and the last costume I finished was for Dragon Con, which was last week, and I think. So I'm just getting started on some new stuff now. But I also am working on some videos. I shot some videos this week. I shot one about surviving Con Crunch, and that should be fun. I'm going to try and release that this week.
Ooh, awesome.
Because I was con crunching before Dragon Con, and it was terrible.
Oh, it's the worst. It's always the worst.
Yeah, I don't know why I always do it to myself either.
It's like a cosplay curse. We all end up doing it at some point.
Never learn.
Yeah, three months ahead, we're like, oh, I have so much time. I don't need to rush anything. And the next thing you know, it's like, the con's in 4 days.
Yeah, I totally didn't do that for my last con either. I think I was up making a belt at 3 a.m. in the morning the day before I was going to the con. It was so bad. Yeah. No, well, I haven't had the time or the money to really start anything new except just planning out things I need to get and details that I want to make on my next cosplays, because we're going to be working on an original character, and then I'm also going to try to make Percy from Critical Role.
Ooh.
So I'm just trying to map out what do I need and what do I want to make and how do I want to do it.
Cool.
So nothing really exciting.
Thanks, Hannah. My headphones are from ModCloth. I don't support them anymore because they got bought by Walmart, but if you could go back in time and buy these headphones before they got bought by Walmart, I would recommend it.
Oh yeah, also I forgot to say hi to everyone in the chat. Thank you for tuning in tonight. If you have any questions or anything you want to say to Ginny during the episode, then feel free to ask them in the chat and we'll try to get to them as quick as we can.
Cool.
Yes. So, I'll just move into the next segment, which is our cosplay news segment. I'm just gonna open up some of my things. So the first piece of news that I found this week is that there's going to be a Sailor Moon cafe opening in Tokyo in Japan, and I want to go so bad because look at this food. It's so cute. I could die. I'll try. I don't know if you guys can see it, but they have Luna and Artemis burgers and tuxedo kame desserts or curry. I think it is. I have no words. I am speechless. It's so kawaii. I could die. Have you guys seen these?
No.
No. You have to pay attention when I send out the script, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so hopefully our viewers can see these now, because they're on a little bit of a delay, so it's easier.
Mhm.
And I think I'm the only one in the group here that has like a big relationship with Sailor Moon. I don't know if Ginny, if you grew up with Sailor Moon, but I know Sunniva and Tonya weren't that into it earlier.
I did. It's my ringtone on my phone is the Sailor Moon theme song.
Aw, that's so cute.
I haven't cosplayed from it yet, but I really want to do Saturn someday.
Oh, cool. I want to do Mercury. She's my girl.
That would be perfect.
Yes. I've got the hair. I'm good. Although, wig all the way. All right. I also found a really funny Muppet group that did the band, the Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, which is the house band from the Muppet Show, and I just thought it was really cute, and I wanted to share it. So you can just see the whole crew gathered up. This was found on kotaku.com, and the Sailor Moon thing was from geekxgirls.com. So yeah, I just thought it was fun because Muppets were also a big part of my childhood. Muppets and Sailor Moons. And
I didn't like them.
What, the Muppets?
Yeah.
Were they scary or boring?
No.
Or... Oh no, that's right. You only liked
I only-
cartoons.
Yeah, I only liked animated stuff.
Picky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tonya, what about you? Did you like the Muppets while growing up?
Kinda. I mean, if it were on kids' TV, I watched it, but it's not like I was a fan.
That's me too. I am aware of the Muppets.
Yeah, they exist somewhere out there. Now, they were part of Sesame Street, or we had Sesame Station, so it was a train station. It's very Norwegian-ified, I would say. So it was just some kind train station attendants and some Muppets working together, basically.
Yeah, I liked that show.
Yeah, I liked it too. Taught me how to count. All right. The next piece is I found a really cool robot cosplay from Nier Automata. Because we've been seeing a lot of the androids being cosplayed from that game. I haven't played it myself, but I think the designs are really cool. But I thought it was very interesting to see this different side of the game, a different character being cosplayed, and I was just really impressed with the execution of this robot cosplay.
Yeah, I had only seen the 2B cosplays,
Mm-hmm.
which I've seen so many of, and I clicked the link expecting it to be another pretty girl in a dress type of costume, and then I saw this giant robot and I was like, oh.
Yay, subverting expectations. That's good. No, I thought it was really good, especially when you see how different the proportions are, in contrast to this guy's actual real life proportions. I'm very impressed.
Cosplay is awesome.
Yes, basically.
Cosplay is magic. It's an illusion.
Yes. Recently, also in Ireland, LeakyCon was held, and it's a exclusive Harry Potter themed convention, which I thought was kind of fun, since we're all Harry Potter fans. So they
I was a special guest at LeakyCon for 2 years, not in Ireland. I was not invited to the Ireland one.
So there are different ones in different places in the world?
For a while, they were hosting them in different cities every time, and then for a short time, I think they recurred in one city. I think it was Orlando because they wanted to do Harry Potter World, and then I think they only recently started doing the international ones because they're a U.S.-based convention organization.
Well, that's cool that it's been spreading. It's nice.
Yeah, it's cool to go to a Harry Potter-oriented convention. Completely. I think it's rare to find a con that's that specific.
Yeah, because the only other that kind of con like that I know of is the My Little Pony one, BronyCon or what?
Yeah. Or actually, the same company that does the Harry Potter one, Mischief Management, they started doing Con of Thrones this past year, the Game of Thrones convention.
Oh, cool.
They also do Broadway Con, so they're really into niche conventions.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Learn something new. But yeah, so
It'll-
BuzzFeed has been posting videos of cosplays from LeakyCon, and I just thought they were kind of cute. So if you guys want to check them out, I will be leaving links on our Facebook page so you all can go click yourselves in there. Just look at
My
pictures.
favorite was the people who dressed up as the Honeydukes sweets.
Yes, they were so cute.
That was like the
Oh,
cutest
where
idea.
are they? I think they're really low down on the...
Yeah, they're almost at the end.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Look how cute they are. Honeydukes candy sweets thingies. I think one of them is a Birdie Bots packet, and one is a Droobles packet. They're very cute. Alright, last piece of news that I have on my agenda so far is that Spill Expo is coming up in November, and they will be hosting a big cosplay competition this year as well. And so for all of you guys who are interested in signing up for the contest or just want to know more about the contest, should go to Spill Expo Cosplay on Facebook. It has its own page, so they'll be putting up rules for the competition and where you can sign up for it, and all the things you need to know about it will be available on that page on Facebook. So everyone should go check that out and like the page, because then you'll get it in your news feed, and it's practical. Yes. And we're going to Spill Expo, so we'll be seeing you there. So there's no reason why you shouldn't go and sign up. So there. Just some shameless promotion in there. Nothing wrong with that. All right, that's all the news I had. So I will leave the word over to my competent colleagues. And Tanya, why don't you get us started with some questions for Ginny D?
Yes, just when I got chocolate.
Oh, you've got chocolate. Okay, well, that's fine. That's okay. You know what I'll do instead? I'll just show people some pictures of Ginny D's cosplays while we wait for you to finish.
Wait there.
So I've picked up a few pictures from Ginny. So the first one is one of your first Aria cosplays, the brown jacket that's made from like these brown strips. Mm-hmm. And I remembered this so well because they actually used your picture instead of a picture of Maisie Williams on After the Thrones on HBO.
Yes, it was very interesting because I didn't watch After the Thrones, and when that episode aired, I had like a bunch of different people tweeting me who were like, is this you? Isn't this you? And then people were tweeting After the Thrones and they were like, this is not Arya. And what I think the funniest thing about it is that this is like, these are people who are on HBO's payroll. Like, wouldn't you think they would be given a folder of promotional images? But
Yeah.
I guess they have to Google it.
It seems like. But I remember this so well because I was watching it after the episode, and I was like, that's not Maisie Williams. That's Ginny D. Someone fucked up.
Another thing is that once they figured it out, they very quietly went through and digitally altered the episode and replaced the image.
All right.
And they even pulled down, there was a YouTube upload of After the Thrones. They pulled it down because you can't edit a YouTube upload and re-uploaded it later. So that particular episode was uploaded later than the actual upload date, which is like the only solid evidence that this happened. Because I had people on Reddit even who were like, you're lying. I just watched the episode and your face is not in it. You doctored these screenshots. And I was like, no. That's not what happened.
But there is someone out there who ripped the episode. It always is someone.
Yeah,
who has it stocked somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
But it must have gotten you a lot of attention, though. I can imagine.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I think I can't remember who did. Somebody did an article on it, like Watchers on the Wall or something. Like some Game of Thrones news site did an article on it, and it was one of the most ridiculous things.
Let's see. Okay, I'll move on to the next image, which is your most recent Aria costume from the last season, which I think is really great.
That was what I was crunching on before Dragon Con.
Right. That leather, all those seams, it must have taken forever.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think it would take as long as it did, but the quilting on the doublet, each panel, so there were 1, 2, 3 panels plus both sleeves, 2 sleeves, and each of those panels took an hour to quilt. Because I was doing this like especially thick stitch so that they would show up on the pleather, and so it was just like I was just in front of the machine like for like an entire day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sunniva, I know that you've been thinking about making this or one of the other outfits that Aria wears in the latest season.
Do it.
Oh yeah, I just need to, gather strength and gather myself and have time. But I really want to do Aria.
You are gonna make a perfect Aria.
Yeah, she has the eyebrows on point. So
You gotta have a good eyebrow base.
No,
I like the eyebrows.
it has to happen.
Aw.
Yes. I forgot to mention the photographer on the previous picture. That was Neil's photography and retouching, and the latest one is York in a Box. It's important to mention. Next one is your Cinderella cosplay, which you are also very famous for, and you took these pictures yourself, I think?
Yeah, so what's funny about this is I made this costume in one day. It's a really simple costume. I don't think it's that impressive, but it was my very first self photo shoot. I was actually inspired by Ida Starbuck Cosplay because she does a lot of her own photography, and I had just sort of started following her work, and I was like, man, that would be convenient. So I tried shooting my own photos for this Cinderella thing, and I was like, wow, these actually came out pretty good. And then they went viral, like everywhere. And then all these people, of course, were like, oh, you over-edited these. Oh, these look terrible. Oh, who is your photographer? They did such a terrible job. And I was like, no, I'm trying. But yeah, that was really an interesting thing because it's by far not my most impressive costume, but I think it's a unique enough costume, and the ambiance of the pictures was I think people felt like it accurately represented the scene, which is cool.
Yeah,
I think they look great, and they have this nice Disney feel to it, and it's sort of like cartoonish to look at. So I think the editing is perfect.
Yeah, I have no issues with it.
Oh, thanks. I actually have, my background is in digital painting, and so all of my photo editing sort of comes from a place of from a digital painting brain, and I think that's what makes a lot of my photo edits look sort of illustrated in a way that some people really seem to like, which is cool.
Yeah.
So do you have a degree in illustration or graphic design or specifically digital painting?
I just do things
for fun.
My degree's in English, but I drew consistently all through college. I was an adult Neopets player, so I did a lot of drawing of anthropomorphized Neopets in college.
Well, see, it came in handy.
It all paid off in the end.
Yeah. All right, let's see. The next one is this is your Art Nouveau Snow White that was inspired by Hannah Alexander art. She's so talented.
Yes.
I just think this is so beautiful. All the little details and...
Thank you. I credit the success of this costume to how good the design is, honestly. I love the Snow White design so much. All of her princess designs are beautiful, but the Snow White one always was so striking to me. I'm glad that I made it. I want to make more of her stuff, but I don't know what yet.
Yeah, they're just so beautiful. And this photo was taken by Anne Barheit, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Anne Barheit. Now, I'm really impressed how the bottom of the skirt is. I assume you did not find a fabric like this. I assume you had to add the red to the bottom of the skirt. Yeah.
So this was the silk itself was my first gradient dye. So that's dip dyed silk chiffon, which is an extremely expensive fabric, but also I would not want to dip dye any other fabric because it took dye so beautifully and just it was so easy. I was so afraid. I had all this fabric, it's 6 yards of fabric in the skirt, and I was like, okay, here we go, I'm about to dunk this into dye, let's pray that I don't ruin it. And I was amazed that it worked so well, but it was just so easy to work with that fabric. And then the lace on the bottom, I just got a lace, a 45-inch lace, well, I don't know what, that's inches, you guys are centimeter people. I got a few yards of this whole lace fabric, and I just cut off the trim along the edge, and then stitched that onto the hem of the skirt. And I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but in the end, I'm really happy with how it looks, and it's kind of amazing to me that it blends so well, I think.
Yeah, no, it turned out great, so good job. Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone in the chat also.
We have the kindest followers.
So nice.
Also, I just want to point out that Sahara Sarah says that thank you for making the tutorial about Aria, the jacket, because Sahara Sarah also made the leather strip.
Aria. I'm really glad it helped.
Yeah.
She's an amazing. She did like an amazing job on that jacket. You should see it. It's.
I'm gonna take a note so I can look it up.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah. So it's just Sahara Sarah Cosplay. You'll find her. She's on Facebook. And on Instagram. All right, let's see. So the next ones I just wanted to bring up are your Harry Potter pinups. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about them later, so we'll not get into very deep detail here, but they're just so pretty.
Thank you.
So I've just... And you took these yourself too, or...?
These ones my boyfriend shot. He pressed the button, and I edited them. But he's very good at pressing the button on these pinup type shots I've been doing, because he's really good at telling me, like, okay, your foot needs to be 1 inch to the left, which is like, you need somebody with that kind of eye for detail for those.
Yeah.
Someone really pressing a button doesn't work. Sorry, so what you were saying?
I just really love the feel of these photos. They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Because they're sexy, but not like overtly sexy. They're kind of like aloof and sweet.
Yeah, I have like a very limited amount of sexiness that I am able to channel, so I definitely feel like a vintage pinup sexiness I can handle, and then I cannot compete with what the modern cosplayer sees as sexy. That is not my area.
No,
but I think these are perfect because the Harry Potter universe, it would have easily turned like too vulgar and a bit too out there if they were overly sexy, but these are like the perfect amount of sexy and cuteness and still very like PG-13, and they're just perfect. I love them. They're awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Sam is one of our regulars, and she has a question that she wants everyone to answer regardless, and that is, if you were a fruit or vegetable, what would you be and why? This is a running inside joke. So Ginny, what if you could be a fruit or a vegetable? What would you be and why?
I guess. Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess I would be one of those like very small, really sour blueberries, because a lot of people don't like them, but the people who do really like them. So that's like me.
You're an acquired taste.
Right, yeah. I come on strong, but some people are into it, I guess.
Oh, that's cute.
I love it. We have learned so much about people just through this one single question. You have no idea.
So you guys have all answered this question before?
Yes, several times, actually.
Well, I'll have to go back and look it up so I can learn what fruits and vegetables you are.
I think I answered strawberry for some reason, just because I'm small and I can be sweet, and I just can't. I can be sour too. I'm difficult to live with in the long run. I think that's what I said. I don't know.
We're the berry brigade.
Yes, we're the berry brigade. Okay. Now, Tonya, I'll put it over to you. I trust you're done with your chocolate.
Look, it's all done.
Okay,
it's in my stomach. Yes. All right. Ginny, the first question is kind of 2 questions in one, and that is, how did you get into cosplay, and how long have you been cosplaying?
So this is, so I've been sewing since I was really little because my mom sews, and she used to sew our Halloween costumes and stuff for me and my brother when we were little, and like these terrible Easter outfits that matched, where like he would have a vest and I would have a dress, and they were from the same like floral fabric. So I learned how to sew really young, but I didn't actually know that cosplay was a thing until pretty late in life. I know people who've been cosplaying since they were like 14. I did not have connections to the nerd scene at that age. So for me, I started working at the Renaissance Festival late in high school. I don't know if you guys have these, like a.
We have a
Kinda.
few. I mean, they're not as big as they are in the US, and I think ours are more focused on being historically correct.
Oh, ours definitely don't care about that.
No.
Yeah, ours are like, welcome to the Renaissance Festival. Here's some pirates and some fairies. And
Right. Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
very different.
Right. It's not about history. It's mostly about getting drunk in the daytime.
Right.
But
Because who doesn't
But I
love
started-
daytime drinking? I'm sorry.
So I worked at the Renaissance Festival as a singer for 2 years, and during that time I actually got acquainted with some geeks, and I only knew like theater geeks. I didn't know the kind of geek that I actually was until then. So I met these Renaissance Festival geeks, and they introduced me to my first convention, which was Starfest, which is a local science fiction convention here in Colorado. It's a pretty small con. It's mostly like a people go to hang out with their friends con. So that was a really fun first con, and I went there the first year, and I was immediately like, oh, next year I'm going to do costumes. Because I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that you could just make a costume and wear it whenever you wanted. I was like, okay, costumes on Halloween. So once I figured out that you could do it, I was like, yep, that's me. I'm doing that. And then the next year, I showed up in my very first cosplay, which was Codex from the web series The Guild.
Oh, I love Codex.
It was great. I don't know how I got so lucky, honestly, because I proceeded to make some much worse costumes after that. But Codex turned out pretty well.
So how old were you at this point?
That, I think my first cosplay was 2010, maybe? Yeah, I think it was 2010. So I had just started college. I was in college at the time, and then I became a cosplayer in college, essentially. And then I graduated a cosplayer.
That's nice. Yeah, then now you've answered even question number 2. What was first cosplay? Yes. It's alright. It's quite.
And I actually, you might consider, I did like buy a Star Trek dress and do like White Girl Uhura a little bit before that. Just like put my hair in a ponytail and wore this dress and was like, yay, costumes. But I consider Codex to be my first cosplay because like I've bought costumes and worn them on Halloween before and stuff, and I wouldn't call that
Yeah, Codex was your first that you made yourself, basically.
Yeah. And I definitely have much more of an emotional attachment to that one than I do to that Star Trek dress.
Understandable.
Totally.
Oh, sorry. When I started college, I was 19, I think. That was a question in the chat, is how old that is.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Well, you
So
started way before we did.
System here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we basically, most of us in the States, I mean, the average upper middle class person goes to college directly after high school in the US. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty much the same. We go to uni. Usually.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite cosplay?
This is like such a hard question. I mean, I have costumes that I enjoy wearing a lot, and I have costumes that I'm the most proud of, and those are definitely not the same things. Like, they don't always line up. Like, I'm really proud of my Ciri cosplay from The Witcher because it's some of the most detailed, and I haven't ever done quite that much weathering, and I'm just really proud of how that came out. But it's absolutely terrible to wear. It's like so many pieces. It takes forever to get on. It's really uncomfortable. And you have like a fake scar on your face, and like it's just a lot. It's a lot. And gloves, so you can't use your phone, which is the worst.
Yeah.
But Ciri's probably one of the ones I'm the most proud of. I really like wearing Codex a lot, even to this day. I've made some changes to it, but it remains mostly the same as when I first made it. But I like wearing it because I love when you meet somebody who recognizes it, because it's like a little niche. The guild is not super popular. I mean, it's pretty popular. It's on Netflix, but it's still considered kind of a niche thing. And when you meet somebody who recognizes it, they tend to get really excited, and you both get to get really excited about the guild together in a way that doesn't happen when I'm cosplaying like Aria, for instance, where everybody watches Game of Thrones. So nobody's like, "Oh my God, you watch Game of Thrones too?"
No, it's a very like small thing. It's like when I started watching Dr. Horrible's sing along blog. No one around me knew what it was, so I was like all alone, like I can't geek out.
And it's
about
hard
this.
to convince people to watch Dr. Horrible because it's hard to even describe what it is, and so people don't know what to do with it.
I just kind of have to lead off with it's Neil Patrick Harris from How I Met Your Mother. He made a thing. Go watch it, please.
It's a short comedy web musical
thing?
Question mark. It's just good. Just watch it.
Oh.
I still have the same feeling whenever I cosplay Dustin from Stranger Things. Even though that is a very popular series, I still don't get recognized that often. And when people's like, "Oh yeah, Stranger Things!" like, yay!
Yeah, it's like it might not be as frequent, but the level of energy is way higher.
Yeah. Sigrid in the chat is saying Dr. Horrible heart, so we have a fellow Horrible fan.
When I just did a Dr. Horrible, I just did like a 50s femme Dr. Horrible.
Yeah.
And I found that the response to it was like, again, it was fewer people who were pumped about it, but the people who saw it were like so excited.
It's really cute.
Oh, thank you. I was shocked by how well that one came out. I was like, this will just be a quick one. And then I finished it and I was like, well, this is pretty good.
It's always nice to make good costumes, even though you don't plan to make it all that big.
It's better than the alternative, where you're like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
A couple of those.
And it's not.
Yeah. I've tried a couple of those.
We've all been there. Sadly.
But you are making a lot of cosplay music videos and parody videos. What made you get into that?
So I've been singing for a pretty long time, and I guess like I had made some videos before, mostly before I started doing parody and stuff. I had made like like fan dubs, where you'll take like I would like sing the part of Belle in Beauty and the Beast, and then I would put my voice over the video of Belle and try to make it match up and stuff. And there's a whole culture on YouTube of that. I had like dabbled in that, and then this was in college again. I was in this Tumblr group thing that was like a Hogwarts role play, and they allowed you to gain points for your houses by making videos or making drawings and stuff like that. So I decided, okay, it's getting close to the end of the points thing. I'm going to get Ravenclaw a ton of points and just like, knock everybody out of the water and just do this amazing thing. And so I decided to write a Ravenclaw themed parody of Rebecca Black's Friday, which was really popular at the time.
I've seen it.
If that helps you place this in time and space. So I wrote this Ravenclaw parody of Friday, and I like filmed this whole ridiculous video in my like apartment that I was renting with these other students, and it was so bad. I filmed it on like this little point and shoot like Canon thing, and it was all blurry and dark and terrible. And then I released it to the Tumblr group and got my Ravenclaw points, and all was well. And then it like separately went viral on YouTube. And a bunch of people saw it, and a bunch of articles were written about it and stuff. I think it's at almost 500,000 views now. And it just like circulated all over the place. And I had never had anything do that before. So I was like amazed and also kind of horrified and also kind of excited. And then a bunch of people started asking me if I could make videos for more of the Hogwarts houses. And at first I was like, no, I made Ravenclaw because I'm a Ravenclaw. Make your own videos. But at some point I was like, you know what, that would be fun, and people obviously want to see it. So I approached some friends about making some videos together, and the short version of this long story is that I founded a YouTube production group called Not Literally that I was with for a few years, and we made a ton of parody videos. and then I left that group for various reasons, and now I am making them myself. Parodies and covers and stuff like that. So the long roundabout way is just that I accidentally made one and it did really well, and that made me want to make more.
It seems like stuff, when it goes viral, it's always by accident somehow, and then it just builds up on that, and that's pretty nice that can happen.
Yeah.
Also, Sigrid in the chat is saying the Ravenclaw Friday parody is still one of my favorite videos on YouTube. Hashtag Ravenclaw Pride. And
oh my god.
We're also Ravenclaws, so we feel,
representing.
I feel kind of alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Tanya is like the Uber Slytherin. We forced her to take the test on Pottermore just to see. So she got...
We were betting, like, oh, it's either Gryffindor or Hufflepuff, probably. I was like, nope.
Nope. Slytherin, and her Patronus is a black mamba.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mamba.
So Voldemort got nothing on Mace.
No.
If I got sorted now, I would probably be a Slytherin. But if I got sorted at 11, I would be a Ravenclaw, so I'm sticking with that.
Yeah. But I just also want to shoot in that I really like your how to sort yourself videos. I think they're really nice because sometimes people feel like Pottermore gets their house wrong, and I can really understand the frustration. Oh no.
Yeah, I think it's a little silly to implicitly trust a flash quiz to tell you something so deep about yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people tend to be like, oh, it's Pottermore, it's endorsed by JKR, I have to trust it, it's like canon. But I feel like canonically, the only thing that could really tell you your house is something that could read your mind, and the only thing that can read your mind is you, so...
Be your own sorting hat.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I advocate self-sorting.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Potter were almost sorted into Slytherin, but he chose it because he didn't want to, so Gryffindor. But I think it's kind of cool to be sorted into Slytherin, because even I did not anticipate that.
Well, and sometimes I think a quiz can help you sort of think about stuff you might not have thought about. Like if someone says, oh, you're a Slytherin and you'd never thought about it, maybe the quiz will make you think, maybe maybe I do have some of these traits. Maybe I should consider that. So I think it's valuable in that way. But I think when people are like, oh my god, I'm having an existential crisis. I've always seen myself as the epitome of Hufflepuff, and I just got sorted into Gryffindor, and my whole life is over. And it's like, calm down. It's okay. You can be a Hufflepuff.
Yeah. You do a lot of projects with cosplay and likes, but how do you choose which projects to work on, and what is your process like?
Oh, it's kind of, I guess it varies, because sometimes, so for instance, this recent Arya Stark video that I did, the Taylor Swift parody, I did Look What You Made Arya Do, because the song came out and the finale came out like 3 days from each other. And I really felt like, this makes sense, this is something I would like to do, and normally that would have put it into a process of production that would have been like, okay, I'll make it in 2 months when I've had time to gather all of the materials and prepare everything. But it seemed like the timing was so good that I should set everything else aside and focus on that, which did end up being the right choice for that. And it's been the right choice with some other things before. Like I did my Pokemon Go trainer cosplay the weekend that the game came out. And that went everywhere because it was the first one that people had seen. So sometimes it's definitely like, okay, if I have an idea and it feels like relevant to now, I'll just drop everything and work on it. And another benefit of that is that I feel like I'm much more motivated when I do everything in one chunk. So if I had an idea and I'm filming that idea 2 days from the time I had it, I'm just like, I'm full of energy about it in a way that I wouldn't be if I were making that idea a month afterwards. But sometimes it's all sort of more planned out and more structured. I think about stuff like, okay, I want to do something for Christmas. I like doing holiday themed things. Like last year I did Sally's song for Halloween. So this year I wanted to do something for Christmas. So I have plans. I made plans for what I wanted to do for Christmas like 3 months ago so that I would make sure that I had time to get everything done in time for that. So the unfortunate thing is like my primary motivator is what I'm interested in and what makes me feel excited and what I feel energized about. But now that this is also my work and my business, I also have to think about how well something will do and whether or not people will want to consume it, because there are things that I would love to make that I just don't think anybody would care that much about. And I have to think, okay, I'm investing my business's money into this project. So I have to think about whether or not like this is the right decision for my business too. So like, for instance, I don't know if any of you guys have seen The Swan Princess.
Yeah.
I love The Swan Princess.
It's so cute.
And oh, it's one of my favorite movies. I'll watch it and I'll just turn around and start it over at the end again. Like it's one of my favorites. And I've thought about how much fun it would be to cosplay one of the princesses from Princesses on Parade. Like the ones with the purple hair and like all of the jewels. Oh. And it would be an even better group. You know, if you had like 8 people doing those identical purple-haired princesses, I feel like it would be perfect. But some part of me has to rein that in and be like, there'd be like 6 people in the world who would think that was interesting. So I don't pick things just because they're popular, but I do try to think about how my audience is going to respond to something. Because sometimes I make something that I care a lot about and my audience doesn't. And not only is that not good for my business, but it also doesn't feel good. Like for me to have invested a lot of time and energy in something and then have people basically be like, meh.
Yeah.
So,
because I mean, seeing as cosplay is actually a business for you now, it makes sense that you have to think about it differently. But does that ever like ruin your enjoyment of it, or is it just become like part of your routine and part of your process, so you don't think about it that much?
I mean, so the good news is the list of cosplays I want to do is so long that I can easily pick a costume that I like off of that list that other people will like too. So it isn't, I don't usually feel like, oh no, I can't find anything to cosplay that I care about that they'll care about, you know? Like, usually I can pick things that everybody's going to be excited about, not just me. But I'm not going to lie and say that it's just as fun and easy to do it as a business as it is to do it as a hobby. There are definitely things that, like decisions that I've made and stuff that I wouldn't have made if I was doing it as a hobby, and that, I don't know, like, for instance, I'm working on Queenie. I did Queenie's pajamas recently, which I know we're going to talk about in a second. But I also was originally planning on doing Queenie's whole dress and coat and everything. And then just as more and more people did it, I just felt less like I had something to contribute there, and my energy around that decreased. But now it's like, you know, I'm making her wand and I have her wig, and like, you know, people like the pajamas one. And so part of me just feels like I should follow through and make Queenie like I planned on, because it's something that I've already said I'm going to do and that people want, you know, but I don't have a lot of energy around that project anymore. So sometimes I have to like sort of bite the bullet and just finish something that I don't really want to finish, because I don't want to start things and promise them to people and then drop them or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. There's ups and downs. I think that the benefits of being able to do this as my full-time job significantly outweigh the disadvantages. But it does factor into my decision-making process a lot more than it would if I were just doing it for fun.
But it sounds also like it's not only like you have to do projects that you don't really have that much energy to do, but it's also like you get the energy from people who expect you to do it, and it makes you, you know, follow through, just like you said. And I think it's both nice but more nice than negative.
Yeah, it is really great to feel like I have this group of people at my back who are eager to see what I'm working on, and like, and even if I don't feel, you know, even with these Queenie photos, I want to keep feeling like, oh no, I shouldn't talk about them because we're about to talk about them. But with the Queenie photos, I like wasn't super happy with how the photo edits were coming out. Like I just couldn't get them to look the way that I wanted them to look, which happens sometimes when you do your own photos. Like I'm not an expert. I'm not a pro photographer. So sometimes I'm doing something and I'm like, why doesn't this look the way I want it to? But then I was able to share them and people really liked them. Even though I felt sort of iffy about them, people gave me such a positive response that it was like, I was sort of able to be like, okay, don't be so hard on yourself, you know? Like it is nice to have people who are there to sort of cheer on what you're doing.
You're always your own worst critic in everything you do. But yeah. All right. You've sort of answered this.
Oh, yes.
I'm still gonna ask it anyway. is the way that you produce your videos now very different from the way you used to produce them before in the past?
Definitely. So, the first video that I made, obviously, I feel like I make videos that are a lot better than that now. I plan them a lot better. I have a better understanding of the equipment and the process and stuff to make them look nice and make the audio quality good and stuff like that. But I think the more interesting question probably for me is the way I produce them now different from the way I produced them when I was in that YouTube production group? Because for me, the first few years of making videos was like with a videographer. And that's definitely not something I do much anymore. Most of my videos now are self-produced. So I do all of the legwork to get them planned and get them prepped, whereas I used to be doing that as part of a team. And then now sometimes I film them myself or sometimes someone else films them for me, but in general, I'm editing most of them too. So all of that is a very different process than what I was doing when I was in Not Literally. And what I think is interesting about that is that most people who produce things for YouTube start out the way that I'm working now, and then they change to the way that I used to work. So they start doing everything themselves, and then they grow into having a team. And for me, in some ways, I had to take several steps back when I left that production group. So I had to go from having a lot of resources to having no resources, which was super challenging. And it's something that I think I'm still trying to figure out. There's a lot of stuff I've made over the last few years that is not up to the standards of the work that I was making 4 years ago, which can be really depressing. So I have to remind myself that like this isn't like me failing. I had to sort of start from scratch.
This is you doing everything on your own, which on the face of it is kind of insane. So I don't think anyone would fault you for having a slight difference in how things are like end up. Because I think your videos are great. I mean, like,
thank you.
Look What You Made Aria Do was insane. It was so catchy and it was just so funny.
I'm really proud of that one.
And sometimes, you know, the what the video contains is more important than, you know, lighting and equipment and if it's 4K or not. It doesn't really matter if because you are genius at making, you know, material and stuff. You and yourself are a genius, I would say, and that is enough to you know, make people love you. And if the production value is a bit lower than it used to, who cares? Doesn't seem like your fans care.
No, thank you. That's really sweet. I sometimes get these comments that are like, I miss when you did music videos with Not Literally, and I always just want to be like, I'm still making music videos. Because sometimes I think people genuinely just don't know, because Not Literally had a ton of reach, and a lot of those people aren't necessarily keeping up with me now. But another part of me does sort of take those comments as like, oh God, they want me to be doing work of that quality, and I'm not there yet, you know? But I'm working steadily to improve every time. And to me, I guess like what makes me feel satisfied with my own work is just knowing that I've done the best that I can at this point. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best work that anyone could create, but it's the best that I can create now. And that's got to be enough.
It's always very motivational to have something to reach for. It's
absolutely.
So I think that's important too. Yeah. Earlier this year, you created some Harry Potter inspired pinup shots that went viral. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my plan was, okay, Valentine's Day is coming up. Wouldn't it be cute if I did some sort of themed thing? Oh, I know, I have this book of Gil Elfgren classic pinup art. Maybe I could do something with that. And then I was sort of flipping through and thinking of ideas, and then I thought, oh, Harry Potter, I already have costumes, because I have a ton of Harry Potter uniform stuff, because I'm a nerd. So I just sort of threw it all together in a few days, this idea, and then I shot it over the course of about a week with my boyfriend's help, and edited the photos like the night of, because I came up with this idea like 2 weeks before February, and I had been sort of tossing around the idea of offering monthly limited edition prints and see how those would do. So I was like, I know, I'll just try it out with these Harry Potter pinups. And then when I released them, obviously, like we were saying, when things go viral, it's never something you plan on or you anticipate. So I think I posted them to Reddit, and they just like blew up. And the craziest part about it for me was I've been selling prints for like 3 years or something, and I make like, outside of convention sales, I make like 10 or 12 print sales a year. Like, it's really not a lot. People don't buy prints online, or at least not of me. So I had this thing where I was like, I'll do limited edition prints, and maybe I'll sell like 5 or 10, you know? Because then people will be like, wow, I can only get these now. And then this whole thing went viral on Reddit, and I sold like hundreds and hundreds of pinup prints. And I spent like 5 weeks just packaging prints for hours. Like, I would sit down and package prints for like a chunk of 3 hours.
Wow.
And I would get through enough that I knew that if I took them to the post office, I would not be able to mail them all before the post office closed. And I'd be like, okay, time to stop.
Wow.
Like, it was insane. And the best part about it for me was that, like, people were so energized around it. They were just like so excited to see this reimagining of these characters, and everybody started asking for a calendar, and I only had 6. I only had done 6 prints. So I was like, oh, I can't do a calendar, I don't have enough. And people were like, do it for 2018. And I was like, oh, but everyone will have forgotten about it by 2018. And all these people in the comments were like, do it, I won't forget. So now I'm working on a 2018 Harry Potter pinup calendar, which is like,
that's so
kind of amazing that people still care.
Yeah, I would love to get my hands on one of those for sure.
I'll send you one. I'm really excited about it. We're actually working with a graphic designer. A graphic designer on Reddit contacted me in February and was like, if you do a calendar, I would really love to help out. And I was like, that sounds great.
That's amazing.
So I just got in touch with her recently. Yeah, we talked a little bit about ideas back then, and then we sort of just stopped conversing because there was so much time before any of this would be happening. But now we're getting to the point where there's not so much time anymore. So I need to be shooting those pinups like in the next month and a half, because I want to release the calendar in November. So I got back in touch with her the other day. Her name is Jackie, and made sure she was still on board, and she is. So now, like this month, actually, we're going to be really getting into the weeds there and figuring out what we want to do. What I really want to do is I want the calendar to be a calendar that a Harry Potter, like that a Hogwarts student or like would own. So I want to put like wizard holidays and stuff in it on the dates, and I want to do like fake ads for wizard products and stuff in the calendar.
So cool.
I have so many ideas about it.
I want one too now. Sigrid says, OMG, I have to buy that.
Yes, I need it for sure. I'm gonna buy it for all my family members. No.
Yeah, it's like, shut up, take my money.
Yeah. You recently visited Norway, and you had a special shoot with Starbit Cosplay. What?
I did.
Yes. What was it like, and did you enjoy your stay?
Yeah, so we went to, my boyfriend and I, my fiance and I, we became that in Europe, so I am getting used to it.
Yeah, congratulations!
So my then boyfriend and I went to Europe for his friend's wedding. His friend was getting married in Germany, and I basically was like, okay, if we are going to go overseas, we have to go to Norway, even just like for a minute, because I somehow had made all of these friends in Norway, like online, just miraculously all in Norway, and I was like, this is going to be maybe my only chance to meet them, which ended up not being true because Ida came to DragonCon, but I was like, I was very worried that this was going to be the only time I would ever get to meet these people, and so I thought, let's organize a collaborative cosplay thing so that we can work together in a way that we probably would never otherwise be able to work together. So we planned out this whole shoot, and the idea was, I was planning on doing Queenie, and Starbit had already done Tina, and so I thought, why don't we do something unique with the characters that we're both already working on and do their pajamas, because no one had, to my knowledge, done the pajamas before. They only wear them for like one scene in the movie. And I thought, okay, those will be really easy to fit into a suitcase, because I'm going to be going to Europe for 2.5 weeks. I can't just like pack big, heavy costumes. So I made those costumes ahead of time, because Ida wasn't going to be able to have time to make Tina's pajamas on her own. So I made both sets of pajamas and brought them along. And then like the day before, so we were staying with Ingrid Beast Cosplay. And Josh and I, she let Josh and I sleep on her couch, which was really, really kind. So the day before we were going to meet up with Starvik Cosplay for this shoot, she got sick, like really sick.
Oh.
And like it was getting worse. Like she got sick the day before, and the morning that we were headed over was like, you know,
dying.
The worst day of being sick. Yeah. So we show up and she has a fever, and like is like trying to stay on her feet for long enough through this shoot. And I felt so bad because any other circumstance I would have just canceled it. Like we would have just rescheduled. But it's like I can't come back to Norway. Like this is the only chance. So we did this shoot and she's like trying to soldier through it, but it was like a very short and sweet photo shoot because she did not have the energy in her for this, which was a little sad, but the photos came out really nice. So
yeah, you can't tell that she's sick in
all
the
worked
photos.
out at the end. Yeah, you couldn't even really tell in person. Like her attitude obviously showed that she was tired, but she's a very beautiful human being. Yes. You don't look at her and think like, "Oh, you look terrible."
No, I've never seen like a bad picture of Ida that wasn't bad on purpose. Like even her derps are kind of pretty, and that's it's not fair.
And it's like a pajama shoot too, because when people are in their pajamas, you kind of think that they are a bit sleepy, or because it wouldn't have mattered if she would have looked a bit, off, and she doesn't. But it would have fitted the scene anyway.
And there couldn't have been a more comfortable costume to wear when sick. No. So
sure.
That was good, at least.
Lucked out.
So yeah, we did that. It was fun. And then we ate some pizza, and we got to hang out a little and talk, which was really, really cool. I hope that someday we will get to spend some time together outside of either like her being sick or us both being at a very, very busy con. But it was really cool to get to meet her, and it was cool to get to meet Ingrid. And we got to sort of tour around Oslo a little bit and saw some of the beautiful sights and some of the beautiful landmarks, and it was really wonderful.
And then you went to a K-pop party?
Yes, and we went to a K-pop party. Some of the sights of Norway.
Yeah. And there we actually got to meet you, which was very nice and fun.
I feel bad that I was not like a good party person because we were still pretty jet lagged.
Yeah, but I mean, you kind of looked like I would have felt if I was at a party where I didn't know anyone and people were dressed up and dancing and everything. I would also have been like, this is a little awkward. I don't know anyone.
I also just like, even when I'm at my best, I am not a person who feels comfortable dancing or at parties. So it's like, I did my best, but it was fun. It was fun. I just like I feel like I'm having fun while standing there like a robot.
But your boyfriend was really into it at some point, though. It was really funny.
He loves to dance. He was, and he pretends he doesn't like K-pop, but he does. I think he told you guys at one point, probably once he had loosened up, that his favorite K-pop song is "Like a Cat" by AOA. Did he not tell you that?
I don't think I was there to hear it, but he probably did.
I don't remember, but yeah, he probably did.
So yeah, Norway was lovely, and it was really great to get to visit, and I would love to be able to go back sometime and get to do some more like outdoorsy type stuff, but a lot of the stuff that we would have wanted to do, like hikes and stuff, we would have had to go pretty far away. Yeah. So maybe someday we can come back and do some of that stuff.
Yeah, I know a lot of nice tracking
hiking
routes in Oslo.
We got to do one, and I wish that we could have done more. So maybe someday.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see.
But you recently started a I cosplay because I like her campaign. What inspired you to do it, and why is this message so important?
Okay, so some of you may have seen this frame going around. It says either I cosplay her because I like her, or I cosplay him because I like him, or there's a them version too. And the idea is, it actually says because I look like them, and then the word look is crossed out, because so the reason why I originally started thinking about this is that I've always sort of taken issue with the idea of cosplay lookalikes being the goal, sort of like the ideal. As someone who is popularly considered a cosplay lookalike with my Aria cosplay, I've definitely benefited from this concept that looking like the character is the way to be the best cosplayer, but it also feels really crappy to see other people work just as hard or harder on their costumes and then essentially get told that they're not as good because they don't have like the genetic coincidence of looking like the character that they're cosplaying. So for a long time, it's really bothered me to see that happen. There's an Arya Stark cosplayer named Lisa. I don't think she actually has a public cosplay page, but she posts in the Game of Thrones costuming group a lot. And her version of the brown Arya costume with the jerkin, with the straps and stuff, I think is the best version of that costume I've ever seen. I think it is like far and away better than mine. And we have been in the same room together, like at Dragon Con's Game of Thrones meetups and stuff. And the way that people respond to me versus the way that they respond to her makes me really upset. Like, it has always just really, really troubled me that people see that as the goal, as the ideal. Because you can't achieve it. Like, you can't make your face look like something. You can do contouring and stuff, and you can try. But there's a huge element of it that's just luck. And so that started bothering me a lot more over time. And then I got to this point where I was like, oh, this is like my version of this problem is so minuscule compared to what other people suffer because of this same thought process. Like, for instance, you see plus size cosplayers who are told that they can't cosplay certain characters because they're too fat. Or like you see black cosplayers who are told that they can't cosplay certain characters because they should only cosplay black characters, which is also ridiculous because that's such a small pool to pick from anyway.
Stupid is what it is.
Oh, it's all. And so I started thinking about like, okay, this is a massive problem of which I'm experiencing like 1%. And there's a huge community of cosplayers out there who suffer because of this, who are constantly told that they're doing things wrong, that they're not doing a good enough job, that they should stop cosplaying, that they should cosplay somebody else because of the way that they look naturally, which is not what cosplay is about.
No. We cosplay because we love characters. Yeah.
Right. And so for a long time, this was bothering me, and I couldn't figure out a way to phrase it in a way that I thought would connect with people. And then I was talking to my mom about it in the car, and I was like, I'm trying to boil it down into a sentence. And then I told her something like, I want to say I don't cosplay them because I look like them. I cosplay them because I like them. And then I was like, oh.
That's it?
Like, hit me that I could condense it that way. And so I went home and I made some graphics like immediately. And I wrote this incensed blog where I was like, this is a problem, and everybody needs to chill about it. And then I posted these frames, and then next thing I know, they're like popping up everywhere on Instagram, which is so cool. Like, my favorite part, obviously the campaign itself was born of frustration and of like anger in some ways, but the result of the campaign has been so positive. Like, I just keep getting tagged in these posts where people just overflow about how much they love these characters and how much these characters mean to them, which is such a beautiful thing to get to be privy to. Sort of like people are just sort of tagging me in on these really personal stories, which is so cool to get to see.
Yeah.
And of course, I've even had people tell me they've looked through the tag, the I Cosplay Because tag, and found a lot of great new cosplayers to follow, which is something that I love so much as a side effect of this, that people are finding each other and connecting with each other.
Yeah. And it must be so nice for you to feel that that you can help someone by doing what you love.
Yeah. Well, and I have had a few people sort of be like, stop complaining, like, that's just life. That's the way that life is, But I feel like as somebody who is sort of in the public eye, and I have a larger audience than a lot of hobby cosplayers do, and I feel like it's sort of, I have the ability to tell people, you're not alone. Like, all of us deal with this garbage. Because I think a lot of times it's easy to have somebody say something mean to you and to not imagine that those things are being said to the people you look up to. Like, talking to cosplayers that I admire and that I look up to and hearing that they go through the same kind of crap that I do always makes me feel like, oh, this isn't about me. Like, this negative feedback isn't about me being terrible. It's just the way that people talk to cosplayers. And that's crappy, but also it's like having that solidarity, I think it's meaningful.
Yeah. Now, I thought this was such a great thing to post about, because that's, like, one of our main, like, values on this show is that cosplay is for everyone, and you should do it because it's fun and because you love it and because you love a fandom or a specific character. And it just really hit home. So I joined in on your campaign last week, I think. So I posted a picture of me and my Yuri cosplay from Yuri on Ice, because I do not look like a small Asian boy. But I love him so much, my little Katsudon. So yeah, I think everyone should go out and adopt that campaign and just focus on positivity and the fact that we cosplay characters because we love them.
Yeah, and also it kind of hits in another direction as well, because like you, Ginny, you're known for being Aria, and I bet you hear that all the time. And there's a lot of cosplayers who look like certain characters, and whenever they try to do a different character, someone would always be like, "Hey, you should do this character instead." And it's like, that's just as equal annoying, I would think.
Yeah, for a while I kept getting told, I just see Aria cosplaying as blank, which always just makes me feel like I'm failing. Like, yeah. Oh, so you don't see, Misty, you see Aria as Misty, so I'm not doing what I wanted to do. I set out to portray Misty. Like,
yeah.
It can be, and I know there are cosplayers that get this. That luckily faded off for me after a while. I think I was able to sort of break out of that somehow, because I don't get that much anymore. I did when my Aria first went viral. But like Matt 11, the 11th Doctor cosplayer, he gets that all the time. Like, oh, I just see the Doctor as Newt Scamander. And that's just like, come on, guys. Like, he's put all this effort into this new costume. Just let him do something else. If you want pictures of the Doctor, he has hundreds. You can go look at those.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Lucia Farah says in the chat, I have lost count of how many cosplay ideas I've thrown away mentally because I feel I can't pull it off because I'm plus size. But I really want to fight that and just do it. And yeah, do it. Just do it, because you're gorgeous and wonderful and talented, and no matter what.
It sucks because, like, on the one hand, obviously we all want to say, just do whatever you want and feel good about yourself and love yourself and whatever, and just have confidence. But it's also like, it isn't fair that we demand that cosplayers have enough self-confidence to do something that they know is going to garner them negative feedback.
That's true.
Because it sucks that we have to, like, obviously, yes, you should cosplay what you want. Like, we should all cosplay what we want. But I also don't blame anybody for trying to protect themselves, because doing something and knowing the kind of like crap you're gonna get for it once you release it, sometimes I just don't want to have to sign up future me for like that pain, It's like, I love Marjorie Tyrell. I would love to cosplay Marjorie Tyrell, but I have not yet gotten to the point where I feel like I could emotionally handle being told you'd make a better Aria every 3 comments.
Yeah, that's true.
So until I get to the point where I feel like I can handle that, I'm just not going to cosplay her, even though I would really like to.
No, but I kind of feel the same with a lot of characters that are very, like, very clearly sexy, that have a lot of, like, boobs or a lot of butt hanging out. Like, I would love to do Moxie from Borderlands, but I'm just not confident enough in my own physique, and, like, being so exposed in front of so many people terrifies me, but I still kind of really want to do it. So it's just
I think it's just like finding the point where your desire to do it outweighs your fear.
Yeah.
And maybe that will come sooner or later, or maybe, maybe something will help you get there.
Yeah.
Like for me, like seeing other people, like seeing Trina, seeing Santatori do Sansa, even though she's well known for her Marjorie, and she's gotten a lot of comments about Marjorie on her Sansa photos, and she's pushing through. Like, she's still doing Sansa.
Yeah.
And so seeing that, that's helping me sort of feel like, okay, if I did Marjorie, I could do the same thing that she's doing. I could push through it,
Yeah.
We just all need to get to that place in our lives where we're like, okay, I can do this now. It just comes at a different point in time for everyone.
Yeah.
All right. We're definitely on overtime, just FYI.
It always happens.
Hashtag
Nothing new.
overcast is what we call it. Was that the last question on our...
It was.
It was. Okay. So then we're going to move into the last part of our episode, which is always geekery. So this is where we recommend anything that we have read, played, listened to, or watched during the past week that we would like others to know about. So do any of you guys have anything you want to start out with?
Now I need to think, because I've just been busy with exercising and work and school. So unless you want to, have a chemistry lesson, I don't really have anything to recommend. or a personal training lesson, then no. But I'm doing a lot of, I'm trying to get healthy again, because I have a lot of troubles with my back, and with my job as a hairdresser, it kind of takes its toll, and I haven't really been healthy, and I've been a lot on sick leave the last 6 months, so I'm just trying to do something towards that. So I don't really have that much time for geekery right now, because I'm trying to get in better physique, so my body will work better again. But I have been playing a little bit of Overwatch, nothing new there, and I don't really think I've done anything else. I can't remember. Yeah.
I've been watching Supernatural. Me and my boyfriend are starting from season 1 to work up to the newer seasons. It's so much fun watching all the old episodes again, having so much laugh over all the silly goosey stuff they do, and cry all over again by the sheer feeling in that series. So if you haven't watched Supernatural yet, do it, because it's an amazing show. And if you have watched Supernatural, rewatch it, because it's awesome.
It's worth it. I've been watching Lucifer on Netflix for the first time, because it just came to Norway, and it's so cheesy and so overly dramatic, but I love it so much. It hits me straight in a sweet spot. I just love it so much.
Yeah, it's a nice show. It has been on TV for a while, though. So
yeah,
it has been in Norway.
It has 3 seasons.
But it's recently gone on Netflix, I think. I love it too. I've been watching it too. There's only one thing about the show that annoys me, and that is that they portray Lucifer as this really spoiled kid that don't know anything, that's just learning about stuff. It's a bit weird, really, since it's it's not human, but still, he should know something.
I don't know, if you've been locked up in hell for eons, I don't think you would know that much about life on Earth in general.
Yeah, I think you would.
I can forgive him that.
Nah, I don't know.
The other thing I want to mention is that I got the starter kit for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, because it was on sale recently. Because I haven't played 5th edition yet, but I am a longtime Dungeons & Dragons lover, so figured it was about time that I got invested into 5th edition. So I'm really looking forward to diving into the rules and see what's changed from the previous editions. So, role-playing games for the win!
Yay!
So yeah, that's pretty much what I had to recommend for this week. Ginny, do you have anything?
I was just thinking through all the stuff I've been watching and doing lately, and most of it doesn't really fall into geek categories, and this isn't super recent, but I'm super pumped about Glow on Netflix. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. It's the one about the 80s women's wrestling.
I've seen ads for it.
So I highly recommend it. Not only is it super funny and super well done, and I love Alison Brie, who is the lead character, but I'm extra excited about it again now because when I watched it, I wanted to cosplay Alison Brie's wrestling outfit as Zoya the Destroyer. And then I went to Dragon Con and I saw like 9 Zoya cosplayers there, and there was like a glow photo shoot that I walked past, and there were like all of these like 80s women's wrestling costumes just like together in this park. And it just renewed all of my energy about this show.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I don't think it got enough publicity, so I just want everyone to know that it's really, really, really good, and you should definitely watch it.
Yeah,
It
I'll probably
counts.
sink my teeth in that soon.
Totally counts. As long as you can geek out about something, it counts as geekery. So.
Okay, good, because I can definitely geek out about that show.
There you go. So yeah, no, as usual, I've just been listening to a lot of podcasts, really. I'm a podcast addict. Like my app says. Same title. So I subscribe to the No Sleep podcast, which is probably a bad idea because I have an overactive imagination and I already have issues falling asleep at night. And it's basically just a whole podcast series full of scary stories.
Aww. Probably like Darkness Radio.
Yeah, and the Black Tapes, which also radio theater extraordinaire. What can I say?
Oh, I just listened to Homecoming. Did you listen to that one? It's a fictionalized serial podcast about it's about like a military experiment.
Oh no, I haven't listened to that, but thank you for. I will look that up right away.
Yeah, I sort of binged it, and I thought it was really good. They're working on season 2 actually.
Cool. I can never.
I've been
get
trying
enough.
to watch.
Sorry. My phone just started talking.
Okay. Oh, there we are.
Yeah, my boyfriend is trying to write a fictional serial podcast right now, so we're both doing a ton of research trying to listen to all of them that we can get our hands on.
That's cool. Well,
There aren't that many yet.
Oh, really? Well, then
Like, there are a lot of podcasts and a lot of serial podcasts, but as for like fictional serial podcasts, it seems like kind of a niche still.
Well, you've probably heard about them, but Black Tapes, Rabbits, and Tanyas are really.
Oh, Tanyas, I've heard it before. I've heard of it before, but I haven't listened to it yet. That's a good reminder.
Yeah. So yeah, I can recommend all of those. They're really interesting.
Great.
Let's see.
I'm writing it down.
Awesome. Well, I think that's pretty much it for what we had this week. So we should be wrapping it up. Ryura says she's been listening to the Fateswain Saga podcast. They had a new stream earlier this week. Yes. People should go check out the Fateswain Saga and the Bloody Stags. We're part of like a group of Ingrid also plays. We have like an RPG series where we play in the Dragon Age universe. So we have a group that's called Fateful Fumble, and Ingrid is part of a channel that's called Betrayal Raven, and we live stream RPG sessions from a Dragon Age like Inquisition timeline, and it's really fun. So our CosCast followers have also been listening to our RPG podcasts. It's a really fun project.
Sample Cosplay has a question.
Oh yeah, CosCast.
It's a question for us, and she wants to know what we're gonna cosplay for Desicon in October.
I'm not sure if we're going to Desicon cosplay in Japan in October. We have no plans as of yet. I think I might just if we're going, I'll probably cosplay Yuri from Yuri on Ice, just because I want to get all the mileage I can out of that costume.
And you didn't get to use your costume didn't arrive in time for KawaiiCon, so you haven't really worn it for a con.
No, yet. I haven't. Just for like casual things. Like I went ice skating in it at a skating disco thing. That's pretty much all I've done with it. So I want to bring it to a convention.
Yeah, and I'm not going to Desicon in October because I will be away that weekend. I'm not even in Norway that weekend, so it's not physically possible for me to go.
Tanya, how about you?
Haven't decided.
So there you go. We haven't decided yet. But we have plans for Spill Expo, which are in the making, so. Oh, Sample says, you should. I'm coming for the first time. It's okay. Yeah, we'll try to make it. We'll definitely try. It's just finances and time and just things are a bit crazy right now. And because I am pretty much unemployed, yeah, I have to like really prioritize the things I attend and the things I do, unfortunately. Okay, but let's not end on that bitter note. I'm just going to say thank you to Ginny for joining us today. It's been amazing having you on and getting to learn more about your life and your cosplay and everything.
Thank you for inviting me. It was really fun.
Yeah, I really love that you're so passionate with what you do. And it seems like you genuinely care about everything you do too, which is very,
I have a lot of feelings.
No. All the feels. All of them. Also, thank you so much to our loyal viewers who have been so active in the chat and who are, you know, you're the kindest, sweetest people in the world. And we're so glad that you choose to tune in to our show on Sundays. And we'll be back next Sunday, of course, at 9 o'clock, as usual. The theme is not set yet, but we'll let you know during the week what'll be up. And yeah, I guess that's it. So thanks for watching and have a nice week. Okay, bye!
Good night!
Good night.
There we go.